Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a story that honestly feels more like a movie script than a real-life biography, the unbelievable journey of Lionel Messi.
I mean, think about that for a second. It's a question that defines his entire career. How did a kid who was literally told he was too small to make it end up becoming the undisputed giant of the world's most popular sport? Let's break it down.
So our story doesn't start with cheering crowds or shiny trophies. Nope. It starts in a doctor's office with a diagnosis that almost shut the door on his dream before it ever really began.
Imagine this. You're 11 years old, you're a local soccer prodigy, and then you get the news. You have growth hormone deficiency. The treatment you need to even have a chance costs $1,000 a month. A fortune for his family. And you have to understand, for a working-class family from Rosario, Argentina, this was a devastating blow. The money just wasn't there. His dream was fading fast. Even the big local clubs who knew how good he was, they all said no. The financial risk was just too high. His future looked incredibly bleak.
But then, something happens that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a Hollywood movie. A moment that would change football history forever, and it was all formalized on, of all things, a restaurant napkin.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? A director from FC Barcelona, Carlos Recchak, was so blown away by this kid's talent that he knew he couldn't let him go. There was no official contract paper around, so he just grabbed the closest thing he could find, a napkin, and scribbled out an agreement on the spot.
The deal was actually pretty simple, but it was absolutely life-changing. Messi and his father would have to move halfway across the world to Spain. But in return for that commitment, FC Barcelona promised to cover his entire medical treatment. It was this huge gamble on a tiny kid, and it turned out to be the single greatest investment in the history of the sport. And boy, did that gamble pay off. That single act of faith unleashed one of the most dominant eras by a single player we have ever seen. Messi didn't just play for Barcelona. He became its undisputed king.
Let's just talk about the numbers for a second, because they are insane. He scored 672 goals for Barcelona. That is the most goals any player has ever scored for one single club, period.
And it wasn't just about him scoring. With Messi as the heartbeat of the team, Barcelona won an incredible 10 La Liga championships.
But maybe the most mind-blowing stat of all came in 2012. He had what is probably the greatest year any athlete has ever had in any sport, setting a world record by scoring an unbelievable 91 goals in one calendar year. 91. And you know, there's this really beautiful personal story behind all that success. It was his grandmother who first saw his potential, who took him to his first games. She was his first true believer. So every time he scores, he points to the sky. It's a thank you to her. Okay, so he's a living legend in Barcelona, a king. But for his home country of Argentina, well, it was a totally different story. It was a story packed with immense pressure and just devastating heartbreak. Just look at this timeline of pure pain. For 3 straight years, 2014, 2015, and 2016, he dragged Argentina to the final of a major tournament. And every single time, they lost, in the most gut-wrenching ways possible. And you can just imagine the weight of a nation on your shoulders, falling short again and again. It became too much. After that third final loss, a totally crushed Messi announced he was retiring from international soccer. It looked like the criticism had finally broken him.
And honestly, that could have been the end of the story. The guy who was a hero for his club but could just never get it done for his country. But that's not how it ended.
He came back. And what happened next? Well, it was one of the most incredible comeback stories in all of sports. He led Argentina to victory in 3 consecutive finals, turning all that heartbreak into triumph. The whole journey reached its peak at the 2022 FIFA World Cup. He didn't just play, he put the entire team on his back, delivering a historic, legendary performance with 7 goals and 3 assists. He was the leader they needed him to be. And then, he finally did it. He lifted the World Cup trophy,
the one piece missing from his incredible legacy. The journey was finally complete. He went from being a disappointment for his country to its greatest hero, and in doing so, he cemented his claim as the greatest player of all time.
So, with that final chapter now written, where does that leave his legacy? I mean, where do you even begin to sum it all up? Let's take a look at the full picture.
Just take a second and look at this. When you lay it all out, the list of team trophies and individual awards is it's staggering. A record 8 Ballon d'Or awards, league titles, Champions Leagues, and of course, finally, the World Cup. It's a resume that puts him right at the very, very top.
So, after all that, what is it? What's the one thing that truly defines him? Is it the mind-bending stats and the impossible goals? Is it that quiet resilience, coming back time and again after such public, painful failures? Or is it just the simple, unbelievable fact that a boy who was once told he was too small to play grew up to change the game forever? I'll let you be the judge.